How's it going? I'm Anthony, and these are stories of my life. For those of you just joining us for the first time, these videos are a cognitive therapy tool for me. I've taken head injuries over the years, my memory's going away, and the doctors felt like these videos would be good for preserving the memories I have, as well as inspiring some of you all to share some details with me I may have lost, or even remind me of events that I've completely forgotten. In which case, then I can make a new video or remake an old video with the new details. I'm sure you get the idea. At any rate, this video is going to be a little bit lighter hearted than the last one. If you watched the last video, Dominic did survive getting hit by the car. He had to go through physical therapy for quite a long time, having broken both femurs as well as a variety of other bones and whatever else, but he did survive that event. So the story that I'm going to talk about in this video did take place again the same year. It was 1989. I was 11 years old, and what was going on really for this was my parents had now formally started their divorce proceedings, and tied into that was a custody battle for me. Now, in the state of California, if you are 12 years old, you can make the determination on which parent you want to live with. The problem is I wasn't 12, I was 11, so the determination was still up to the courts. Now, they do take into account the child's opinion, but it's not the deciding factor. So what ended up happening was my mother tried to have me with her all the time. She didn't want me going to my dad's nursery anymore, now that this started up. And I can speculate by, I got to say that maybe my mother was expecting to get alimony, child support, and all of that. And, that obviously that would make her life a whole lot easier. I don't know whether or not that was exactly the case, but it makes sense. So now I'm with my mom a lot, and I'm dealing with all the stress of her drinking, her attitude, etc. And one day, my mom takes me to the Riverside Plaza. Now, back in the day, the Riverside Plaza was an indoor mall, not the outdoor shopping center that we know of it today. But it was an indoor mall, and I missed that. It was a pretty cool mall. But anyway, you go into this one entrance, and as soon as you walk in, there was a pet store on the right-hand side. And my mom took me in there, and we were just going to kind of look around at whatever cats or dogs or fish that they had. And that was kind of a common thing for me. I love animals, so it was something I wanted to do. So we go in there, and the girl that works there was holding, cradling this little bundle of fur. And I see it, and I'm like, what the hell is that, And sure enough, this little head pops up as I get closer and goes, turns and looks at me. And it was a bunch of fur, this flat, squished black face, and these bug-out eyes. And if you don't know what a Pekingese is, please Google it. And a Pekingese, for descriptive purposes, kind of looks like imagine a long-haired, fluffy pug. So, very similar. And so I see it, this head pops up and looks at me, and I'm like, what the hell is that? I've never seen one of these before, so I'm kind of tripped out. And the thing was ugly, but it was cute. It was ugly, but it was cute. It's a trait that really only works in animals, So, at any rate, this dog started freaking out, like it wanted to get down. So the lady set this dog down on the ground, and it come running up to me. And I'm like, oh, you're cute. And then it barked at me, bit my shoelace and untied my shoe, and then barked again, turned around, ran off. I was like, you little turd, So I started chasing this thing all around the store. And my mom was laughing, and the girl that had held the dog was cracking up laughing, because now I'm a little 11-year-old chasing this little bastard all around this pet store. And I swear I chased it for a good, I don't know, 10, maybe 15 minutes. It got to the point where the people that were shopping in there actually backed up against the walls and we're laughing hysterically as I'm chasing this dog around. A couple of the employees actually got to where the entrance was, got up against that so the dog wouldn't run out of the entrance. And everybody was just watching this, laughing hysterically as I'm chasing this little POS around. But anyway, at one point I dove because I thought I had the drop on this dog. So I ended up diving to catch him, and I missed. And the dog ran back, barked at me, nipped me in the side. You know the little love nips that dogs do. Nipped me in the side, and then ran over to my other shoe, untied it, and then ran off again. So get back up, and I'm chasing this dog now, 2 untied shoes, and I don't know how long that now was going on. But anyway, I'm still chasing this dog. Finally, I outsmart the dog. And I managed to get the dog to turn one direction and cut back a different way because I knew it had this habit of doing this after a while. So I double backed on it, dove, and I caught it. And as soon as I wrapped the dog up, it just stopped. And I'm just sitting there holding it, laying on the ground, just dying. The dog's doing the same thing. And dog's doing the same thing. So I'm just laying there, and I'm like, okay, I got him, you know. I finally get up, and I'm holding the dog and patting him, and he's just kissing my face. And finally just turned to my mom, like, Mom, can we have him? She's like, I don't know, we got to talk to your dad about it. Okay, I didn't understand, because my dad didn't live at the house anymore, and you know, my mom was the one basically running the house. But what it really came down to was my mom wanted my dad to pay for it. And I don't remember how much the dog cost. It was like $500, $600, $700, $800, something like that. So we leave the dog there, and I'm worried about somebody else buying it. But we get home, call my dad, talk to my dad for a bit, and he eventually comes home. We sit down and talk with him, and my dad kind of pulls me aside, and he's asking me about how things are with my mom and her alcoholism and whatever else. And, you know, I tell him how stressful it is, and, you know, I feel like I'm alone there and blah, blah, blah. And I think that's really what did it. So my dad ended up, okay, you know, let's go get the dog. So my dad bought the dog, or, well, he didn't go with me to get it. We ended up getting it ourselves, but he paid for it, gave my mom the money for it. And we got the dog, brought the dog back, and I can remember my dad even making the comment, so this is my replacement, huh? And that, I don't know why that always stick with me. You know, it just always did. But I know that he agreed to it because he wanted me to have kind of a friend there, you know, despite all of it. And because I didn't have a lot of friends at the time. You know, nobody that I spent any real time with, but you know, there's many nights that I can remember my mom screaming and yelling at me because she was drunk, and I just grabbed my dog and run off the bed and crying and hold my dog. And my dog was always able to cheer me up, so it was good. Funny thing about the dog, and his name is, we ended up naming him Dexter. Funny thing about Dexter is I could get out one of the mops, and I always kept a clean mop head, and I put it on the mop, and the dog would bite it, and I would run the mop around the hardwood floors, and he'd just go with it and just lay there and slide and slide. He thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And so I ended up calling him the Dustmop with eyes. And I used to love throwing a ball so it would hit the wall and then end up bouncing down the hallway. And he'd be chasing it, and you could hear his little toenails just clicking on the ground. And then he'd hit the wall, boom, and then have to change directions in here. And he'd get running down the hall so fast. But then at the end of the hall was the bathroom, when the door would be closed, and the ball he'd be chasing would hit that door, and he couldn't stop. So you hear, boom, and he'd hit that wall. He used to do that all the time. That was so funny. Another funny thing about him was one time, well, out in the backyard, and this used to piss my dad off. Out in the backyard, he'd go pee. And instead of like a normal male dog, he used to lift his leg, okay? So he'd lift his leg to pee, like, you know, a normal male dog. One day, though, it was blowing real hard. Like, the wind was blowing real bad. and my dog lifted his leg to go pee, and a gust of wind blew him over on his back. So he ended up falling over, and he's still peeing up in the air, and it's all over him. So we ended up having to wash him. But ever since that day, he stopped lifting his leg. Like, he refused to lift his leg to pee anymore. So he just kind of squat his butt down and pee in the grass. And I used to leave these little patches of dead grass wherever he would pee. And I used to make my dad so mad. I'd have to just walk him out in the front yard and whatever else. But yeah, that was my dog. That was Dexter, and I miss that dog. He was my friend. Anyway, like I said, a little bit of a lighter story than last time. Thank you for watching.